Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for the premiere of Survivor 44. That's right, I'm doing the fingers like Jeff Probst did. Hello, everyone. Mike Bloom here to welcome you in for yet another season of Survivor and subsequent coverage here on the B&B. And you know what? When we got a fun, weird episode of Survivor, there's only one fun, weird podcast you can really turn to that is able to embody all that energy in one. Hopefully having as much excitement as Carolyn trying to throw a ring over a post with her pants off. It is the B&B. We're happy to have people back on for the first time, what have you. We are a Survivor Fun and Games podcast. We're going to be doing games, segments all season long, and we're just welcoming all of you in here for the first time. But for those of you that are back, oh, we're going to have a lot of fun this season. We're going to have a very good time. If this is the marker for the tone of the season, I think Liana and I in particular are going to make a meal, even if these people are not seeing a meal for many, many days. Of course, I just mentioned her. We cannot be doing the B&B without her. She is the sword to my proverbial shield. It's the great Liana. Boraas, Liana, how are you?
Doing fantastic. This definitely was the biggest B&B energy premiere that I think we've ever had. It was also a Brant Steele B&B energy. It was also what do you like about Survivor? Yes, kind of energy. Because it was just, we saw everything seemingly in one episode. We saw shot in the dark hit, shot in the dark fail, idol play, medivac. Like, what else could you want? Like, we literally had everything.
It was a shopping list that I don't think we ever thought we'd check everything off of,
Yeah.
but we kind of did. And now we don't know what to do with the food at this point, but we're going to try to make a meal of it. Now, of course, we have to welcome in as our first guest a fantastic person, a reality TV piece of royalty, as well as a soon to be mainstay on RHAP as well. Of course, Jeff told us in the beginning he was going to birth these people into the game. And so I think no better person could come on as our first guest than the winter baby himself, winner of Big Brother Canada Season 10, the great Kevin Jacobs. Kevin, how are you?
Do I just talk? I
He's
just
learning.
I
Oh,
just I just say my name.
that's good. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
well, Kevin,
Yeah.
you could say as a reality TV contestant, like what percentage of the people on reality TV does that accurately represent with like their first confessional of people who just have no idea what they're doing when talking to a producer?
I think it's about 100% accurate.
Yeah.
They obviously use that to get to know Carolyn, but the first time you're talking to the camera, it's not a smooth process. So you know what? It is indicative of what it's like for most of us.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am really excited to break this all down. It was a 2-hour premiere where I think a number of things happened that none of us expected. The earliest medevac in the show's history, leading to the shortest tenure of a contestant in Survivor history at a scant 12 hours. We have the first or the most trips from medical in an episode ever with 4. We also have first the official returnee invited back from the new era, which we'll certainly get into. We had, as Liana points out, an oops all advantages tribal council where for the first time half the tribe couldn't vote and someone went home with 1 vote in the premiere. It was a lot, and it's been so interesting to track the reactions of the fandom, this party included, for the past few days, because it kind of feels like what went through Bruce's body during the opening challenge, where I think on Wednesday night people were like, this is freaking exhilarating. I have no idea what's going on. This is incredible. These people are such big characters and they're doing all these random things. They're climbing rocks. They're risking their votes. What the hell is going on? I'm so excited for this season. And then the adrenaline has kind of worn off, in my opinion. And some people have stepped forward to be like, wait a minute, maybe us not knowing what the hell happened actually isn't a good thing. And
Hmm.
so I actually have seen the balance kind of shift back to more of a mixed response overall to the very eventful premiere. I would argue, no matter what, the most eventful premiere we have ever had in the show's history. I'd be keen to poll the current party and see what you all thought of the premiere, especially now reflecting on it after a few days. Liana, what about you?
hmm I think that that is probably an accurate description, because as you're going on the ride, the roller coaster that is the Survivor 44 premiere, you are just being tossed and turned in every single direction. But then it really took so much afterwards to really think about, like, wait, okay, so sorry, wait, what? Why was Jamie wanting to play the shot in the dark? Oh, she was paranoid because we find out from Maddie from the exit interviews that she was actually being targeted. Well, that would have been nice to see. So I think while it was like a really fun, chaotic adrenaline rush of an episode, there's definitely a lot in the aftermath that you start questioning. Why didn't we see this? Why I don't understand this? Where is this coming from? Maybe that'll be fleshed out in the next couple episodes, but definitely from the 2 hour premiere, we did not get a good sense of what's going on the tribes.
Yeah, Kevin, I know that you yourself have gone a bit public on social media talking about your frustration with how advantage heavy this premiere was. Want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've actually been in and out on the premiere. When I was watching it the first time, I was like, "This is great. There's
Mm.
so much going on. Cool. Maybe successful shot in the dark, depending on how you want to interpret it." And then I went to, well, I didn't really know anyone on the tribe on Ratu that went to tribal council. And then now thinking about it, I don't think anyone other than maybe Brandon, and that's only because the idol got an overpowered intro. Like we kind of got to know everybody on somewhat of a similar level. So I'm actually okay with where it is. And like you mentioned at the beginning, if the season continues on this trajectory, I'm here for it because it's so unhinged.
Yeah, I do think that maybe we're throwing a bit of the baby out with the bathwater in terms of people talking about like, oh, we didn't get to know everybody. I actually will really commend the editors in terms of the character storytelling. I mean, we saw like very few file photos of people, which is such a swerve to me from season
Mhm.
43, right? Where I think people were talking about, okay, the backstories are getting formulaic. Let's not define people through our tragedy. I feel like we got very few tragedies talked about in this opening episode, which was cool. It was nice to see, even if people are still talking about themselves outside of the game rather than in the game, we're not exactly focusing on like, okay, what trauma have you
hmm
suffered to make you who you are? And that's why you're playing Survivor. I'm glad we steered away from that. Now, all that being said, of course, God, I wish that this bevy of advantages and idols and other types of trinkets were not in the game from the very first thing, and B, I wish that there wasn't so much focus on it. It was a really nice representation of the new era to get this entire first segment dedicated to like introducing these players and doing the fun mad chat where Jam Gems wants you to puke on him and Franny wants to smell your halitosis or whatever. And then we get everything going on with Bruce and like there's this interesting stuff going on with the opening challenge. And then the second segment is all focused on Sweat versus Savvy and the birdcage. And it's like, okay, these are sort of the alpha and the omega of the
Mhm.
new era is, okay, we have these fun characters that we're going to highlight, but then also there are all these things we're going to throw at them. It was a really interesting premiere for me because it felt almost like the 41 premiere in some respects. Like if you took kind of the chaos of the 42 premiere with like the Jackson stuff and again the larger than life characters and mix it in with the 41 premiere where we're like, okay, wait, what's going on with this summit? What's a shot in the dark? What does this entire thing mean? Because they really made a market effort, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, in like changing Sweat versus Savvy, changing the summit. And I think it was a new experience for both us and the players, but by proxy, because they had to dedicate more time to that, that was then less time to like, oh, what's going on? Oh, is Jamie actually getting targeted here? What's going on with, the relationships that Maddie's making, this Maddie Kane dynamic that apparently she claims was like the blood vein
Mhm.
of the tribe. So I think there were pros and cons to it overall. I'm not willing to say like it was incredibly bad. And I think those that do perhaps may be overshadowing some of the more fun elements. Hell, we got an entire scene of Carolyn just trying to like figure out how to socialize, which I absolutely adore. But I do think at the same time, I cannot ignore the fact that just focusing on giving so many things at the start, I don't blame these players for being kind of freaked out at their first tribal council just because so many things were thrown at them and at us to begin with that it's still, to your point, Kevin, a lot to put together even a few days after the fact.
Yeah, I would have cut Sack Rock Island. Like, I didn't mind Savvy and Sweat. I thought that was okay. I didn't mind the Birdcage idol. That didn't really bother me because those are a lot of like fun decisions that the group is making, and it actually allows you to look at like group dynamics. So you see the decision of like, is Brandon going to reveal the idol? Is he not going to reveal the idol? Is he going to reveal it to Maddie? Is he going to reveal it to the whole tribe? Is Maddie going to convince him to do it? So that's like a decision, and I like seeing that because it helps me learn about that person's decision making, and then also you see the group respond. Savvy v Sweat, I think I would put in the same category as that. But to me, the summit thing, that toss that. That's too much. Genuinely, evenly, I don't like even remember what the advantages are. We'll need to talk through them. I was trying to write. We're doing a choose your own adventure today, by the way, just so super fun. And I was trying to write it up to include some of the advantages, and Pui was like, "That's not how that works." And I was like, "What?" So like we had to talk through like some of the advantages because I did not remember them. It was just too overwhelming in the premiere.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I think you bring up a good point with the summit. The part I like the best about the summit is not that you get to get an advantage or something like that. The part I like the best is seeing these people communicate across tribes. And we got virtually none of that. There was no journey. They walked to a diverging path and then they left. So they didn't even, if they did get time together, we didn't get to see that. And again, like I'm a character guy. I like to see these people and I like the advantages and strategic elements to play into the character story. And if there isn't a lot of interpersonal relationships or background on those characters, like, okay, you got forced to lose your vote for a tribal or two.
Yeah, so Kevin, you call yourself a character guy. Ironically enough, though, you are not from the USA Network. But tell me about which characters are standing out to you in Survivor 44, because there's probably a lot of them.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm still so intrigued by this. So most of these people are really interesting to watch. I mean, I love one of the highlights of the episode for me was Claire whispering over to Matthew, "Hey, I like you," and causing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, like that's a way to elevate a challenge for me. I love to see that. Obviously, Jam, really impressed with how Carson has ingratiated himself based on the little we saw with his tribe. He's being who he is. He's embracing like this sort of nerdy background that he comes in with. Yeah, I gained 30 pounds for this. I think people like when you're genuine like that. The other thing on Claire is she mentioned early on, I decide whether to give people $1 million. Like, all right, I'll see you on the jury, Claire. And I mean, you can go through the whole thing and pull something out on everyone. I'm obviously very excited about Blankenship and his potential showmans. People love the last name.
Ooh, look at, I was going to say, Kevin, did you give Matt Blankenship the last name treatment already? You're probsting him?
Everybody keeps talking about how good his last name is. Why don't we call him Blankenship?
Yeah, we can stop that. Are we allowed to make that decision, though? I don't know. So. It feels like, is that like...
Yeah, that feels like until Jeff does it, then it feels just like a pale invitation. But I think we can more so take the last syllable of his last name and apply it to what might be happening. So I see some shipping happening with Matt and perhaps someone else on the Soka tribe.
Yes, that's not a Blankenship. That's a... I was hoping my brain would come up with something by the time I got there. I didn't actually.
Liana, just keep talking. Your brain will figure it out in 5 seconds.
Exactly.
That's what they say to do in improv. Just spit it out.
Yeah. Nope, still blank. Anyway, him and Franny, love that. I think that's so cute. We actually got a Frankenship, a relationship. Nailed it. Okay. I think that they're going to be really cute to watch. I think obviously we got so much Carolyn in this episode, from essentially the cold open with her to everything else that we saw from Carolyn. She's definitely going to be a big character. I agree with Kevin about Carson. I was really surprised and pleased with the way that he was interacting with his fellow tribe mates. Seems like he's in with the Helen and Sarah. I think he could get in. Carolyn seems to really like him. I think there's a lot of avenues for him over on that tribe.
I am here for the nerdy 30. This idea of this twig of a man gaining, a stone, essentially being like, all right, listen, I'm going to get buff. And it's pretty damn good. I agree with you both. I think it was a pretty good premiere for him, considering that, especially with the loss of Bruce, this is a tribe that explicitly has said they lack physical strength. So I think Carson is now stepped up as the strongest physically member of the tribe, despite the fact that he only went to the gym 3 months ago, and now all of a sudden he's the physical asset for his tribe. obviously, I think Helen was the one to really figure out the Nexus stuff, but like obviously he's perceived as a lot of the brains behind it too. But I think it was a good start for him overall. Kevin, I know that you have recently gotten into the email newsletter game, and I was very tickled to read your newsletter yesterday where you talked about how obsessed you were personally with Carson's body transformation.
Yeah, so one of the things I think about is prep for the game, and people don't talk enough about the physical prep. And I think if Carson lasts a long time, all that weight he gained is going to come off pretty quickly, and he's actually set himself up to not be as subject to starvation and pain as the rest of the tribe. When you gain weight quickly like that, you can lose it quickly. And I really appreciate his physical prep, which hasn't been talked about as much as mental prep.
So do you think actually maybe the photo we saw wasn't of a Carson from the past, but actually a spoiler photo of like him at Ponderosa after he lost 30 pounds?
Yeah, that's the conspiracy theory now. That's after final tribal council. He comes back. It's that night.
It's like when people post the before and after photos, but they always swap the order. It's usually super annoying, but in this case, something to it.
I do wonder, listen, we know that Carson knows his way around possible merchandising. I wonder if afterwards, like the Carson workout and diet plan will come to the picture like, I used to be a nerd. Do you want to be like me? Buff AF? Well, try my survivor plan. Gain 30 in 3 months.
If this guy does really well, future castaways are going to be going to him for prep. Like we've seen him doing the puzzles. We've seen him with his manipulation books. If it works, and let's just call it top 5 or so, like people are going to be asking this kid for advice for years.
I mean, this is prime beach body on demand, and the beach is in Fiji, so I think he would nail it.
Yeah, and I think to your point, he could also give you spreadsheets as well of your BMI. I wonder, do you think those were his actual spreadsheets? Because I took a look at them, I screenshotted them. They are incredibly nerdy. And that's me saying this.
Like, okay, so then they are. They must be his, right? What are they gonna...
There are notes about like, oh, if there are 3 people in the running to be voted out, the last person called out went home 100% of the time. This particular spreadsheet was like talking about being called out. I don't know if that's Jeff doing, so you in the back with the t-shirt, or if it's like asking questions at tribal council, but it's a very minute detail.
That sounds like vote read-in to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But also, how does that help him? What is he gonna do? He's gonna be like, wait,
wait. Read me second.
Wait, okay, can I see the dailies on this? Can I see the edit? I have a theory.
Yeah. Okay, so they must be his. Like, what do you think? Like, production made some fake spreadsheets to like show, and they were like, yes, called out is a thing that happens on our show, right? Yeah, sure, put that in there.
No, I really want set dressing. I want the text message Excel version of Survivor producers thinking like, what do super fans like talking about? Oh, who's being called out at tribal council? Let's make one. Intern, mock up a big chart about that so we could take one screenshot to show this big buff nerd that he's truly the biggest nerd we've ever nerded.
He needs to carry this tribe, because I've seen a lot of people saying, and I agree, Tika is so precious. And now they're down a person, and there are so many fun personalities here, and I'm concerned about them.
Same. I'm so nervous for them. I think that, okay, I'm hoping that they just like excelled in the puzzle in this immunity challenge. But if Brandon doesn't collapse with dehydration and they can't even really move the bricks or whatever, I mean, I'm hoping that they won because of their own skill, not because of the lack of what Ratu had.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there was anything that really showed that like Ratu was any better at the puzzle than Tika. I mean, Ratu did get to things last, I believe, right? Because they were having trouble with the swimming and dragging the chest. So, like, if we assume that carried forward to the puzzle, I don't know. I'm thinking, even if they are in danger, here comes Sarah with her freaking vacuum cleaner of advantages that could just suck up, like, let's provoke an advantage gut in and then suck up anything that gets played at that tribal council. And now she's able to essentially hand things out like they're candy, the candy that Jam Jam wanted out of the birdcage.
Okay, I'm happy that we're talking about this. Please explain. So, do people play advantages and the advantages count, but then she gets them at the end? Or do they just like not? She's just like, nope.
No,
Nope.
she's not doing like a yoink, an interception, and grabbing something
Okay.
away. So basically,
Okay.
what it
Okay.
happens is this is played like an idol nullifier. So we go through our tribal council. Carson, compare this to rocket science. Blah 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 blah. Nobody's giving anything away. They go up to vote. Sarah gets up to the voting booth. It's there that she chooses whether or not to play her advantage.
Mm.
If she does, from then on out, when Jeff calls for the idols and advantages or forever hold your peace, anything that's played there does count for that tribal council. So if
Okay.
idols are played, if this extra vote is played that Lauren now has, that all counts towards the tribal council. But should Sarah survive, the next day she's gonna open up her little clutch that she was given by Survivor, and Santa came, and he came hard in her bag. There's
Ew.
there'll be that idol, there'll be that extra vote. So it's something that has to be done before any idols and advantages are actually played. Now, this is an interesting wrinkle because, like, what if we get a Drea and Marianne situation where someone's like, or even Jamie, right? If someone's like, I'm playing my idol before the votes are read and hands it into Jeff, like, that's sort of something Sarah can automatically bank on. But she's going to then receive it entirely in secret. Nobody is going to know that this advantage was played. Jeff's not going to announce it at tribal council. So this is completely incognito, so long as, which is something that people don't do in this modern day era. But if she is one of the rare people to not tell anybody about it, then nobody will be the wiser.
And here's the beauty of it, and why Sarah is the perfect person for this. When you hire a management consultant, they come in, they do a lot of listening, and then they tell people what to do. People do that, and then they take the credit. So if Sarah can get a bunch of people to play their advantages, then she plays hers. Boom, she takes everything. She gets all the credit. She brings back the idol and the bank of vote and whatever else they have. So I'm happy she got it.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't get the shots in the dark, though, right? Like, those don't count. You don't get
There's
extra
questions
shots
about that. I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure it's a one per customer thing where I don't think like I think if she used it on this tribal council, I don't think she could get Jamie and Matthew's shots in the dark that they ended up playing. I think another question as well, or an interesting wrinkle could be if she had an idol, she could essentially get like a BOGO, right? Like she could play an idol, play this advantage, and then just get the idol right back in her pocket the next day, which I think would be super fun.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even think about that. That like if she plays an advantage, she gets the advantage back. So like if for some reason she was in Brandon's situation, she could like play a very public idol, be like, all right, I'm done, no idol, and then have it right back in her pocket without anyone else knowing, right? That's cool. I like that. Also, what I did not like was her approach to the tribe when she got back from the whole summit thing where she was just like, yeah, I don't know. No one knows. And it's like, okay, well, the next person who goes to the summit is going to know that you lied. Why wouldn't you just show your like one little I can't vote thing? Because it's true. You never have to tell anybody about the second advantage that you got. Show the little clamshell, just like Blank and Chip did. And then you can just be like, okay, there, I lost my vote. And then you're done. And then next time you don't vote because you can't vote, right? And then you just have this advantage and nobody knows about it. Like, why did she do some weird like lie? I don't know. Made no kind of sense.
Well, I think the lie that she was putting out was the lie that we thought was coming out of 41 and 42, right? Like, oh, they did the ship wheel thing, and I don't know if I lost my vote until I get up and go to tribal council, and then it tells me that I lost my vote. Because remember, that's what happened previously.
Yeah, no, I know that. But the next person who goes to Sack Rock Island is going to immediately know that that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true as well. And I do not think neither she nor Lauren banked on this idea of, oh, if I spread out this lie and anyone talks to anybody from any other tribe and we don't talk with each other about the story to put forward, there's a very good chance this blows up.
But like at least Lauren's, she can't, but like because I love what she did about the banking the vote, like commit to the lie, be like, I can't vote. I lost my vote. Your vote's not going to show up. And the next time you go to tribal, you just bank your vote and you move on. Like she had an easy lie also, I think. I mean, obviously given the whole Claire, given the whole Claire situation also about like, but yeah, I don't know, whatever. I was so mad at Sarah. I was like, what are you doing? Get it together.
Well, she also pushed it off by saying, I don't know, I'm going to see you at the next tribal. Like they're going to follow up with her.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they're going to be like, oh, so you did vote, right? And that's like, so then what advantage did you get?
Yeah, it's not a good situation.
Yeah.
This is really hard. Like I haven't heard anyone explain a really good approach to Lion about this, especially now that they all know about it. Like it's not easy. It's not obvious what you should be saying.
Well, the tough thing about this summit as well, the thing I actually like least about it, and I will say I'm still not I'm also not a fan of like the fact that they got two different ones. I'm not
Oh
sure like
yeah.
why they chose to delineate it in
What
that
was
way.
number 3? What was in there?
God only knows. You know what it is? It's gonna be knowledge is power again.
Of course it is.
It should have just been 3 separate knowledge is power advantages, because those would have been as useless as losing your vote.
Yeah.
But the thing that really grinds my gears about this particular version of the summit, which is something that Jeff explicitly talked about in his podcast, was purposeful, was that you do not get a choice to opt out of drawing out of the bag, right? At least last season, when they went to the summit, they had the choice to like either draw from the bag or not. Here, they are forced to no matter what. So they automatically from the start have a 67% chance of losing their vote just by getting on the boat. And Jeff admittedly said, like, yeah, we did that because we wanted to tell people that, okay, it's not a free ride. You're not guaranteed to get something. In fact, it's more dangerous than it's ever been. That's all well and good. But, you know, that first group of people probably should have found out about that before they ended up getting on this boat. It feels a little too much like trickery for me. And I don't love this idea of, okay, this thing that you thought was good was actually bad now. Bye-bye, your vote's gone. Because now that, while that does lead to more calamity like we saw, it can very easily tip into the scales of just like, what are we even doing here?
Without a tribe swap, you might lose your votes for the entire pre-merge. If you just go to tribal twice, which would be lucky, you might not be able to vote at all, which for me kills a lot of the point of the game.
Right. I mean, that's the currency that you have is your vote. And so if Matt somehow manages to like, I mean, he could never vote. Or what if he never goes to tribal? Is he not going to be able to vote when he gets to the merge? Are they going to keep doing this? Are we just going to have a ton of people who can never vote? Like, because what if all of them got unlucky and all of them got 2 no votes? Then you have 3 people who can't vote for the next 2 tribal councils that they're at. Like, how does that even work?
We could get like a Jamaica situation, right? Where it's like, oh, I can't vote in the next 6 tribal councils. Well, we might as well keep you around because you can't do anything. You're just a body keeping us warm in the shelter. That's all you're good for.
You would need Carson to do this kind of math, making sure that everything could work out from the production side of things.
Thank you. That's the spreadsheet we needed. Ugh.
Yeah, well, I think the good news about it is if we're going along the lines of Survivor 43, we're going to do the summit, maybe 3 times this season. So that helps that we got a lot in this premiere. I also just love, I don't know why we went so fiduciary with these things, right? Between like the inheritance advantage, the bank of vote advantage. I don't know if like we're looking into Jeff's personal bank account too much of like, is something going on? Did you make some investments over the course of the off season that we're not entirely sure about?
The capital gains advantage, mutual fund advantage. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that means financial planners actually might be the new, like, lawyers in terms of the most dangerous positions to have as Survivor players. Well, let's move to something completely different here, because I think a very large thing to speak about from this premiere, besides the advantages, were just all the medical maladies that ensued. Again, most visits in a single episode ever by medical. It's interesting that we are having someone who has been compared to Dr. Will Kirby in the past because another Dr. Will became a star on CBS reality television for the first time in like 15 years.
This guy's stealing my thunder.
I know, exactly. But I'm really intrigued to hear from the two of you. Kevin, I'll start with you. Like, is this something you enjoyed watching? Was this something that took away from you too much of like, okay, I don't want to see too much of people getting hurt. Get back to the strategy.
Danny said it best. You never want to see someone lose like that. So it's not just Bruce getting pulled. I do think it does kind of raise the stakes and we get more of how badly these people want to be there when they get injured. Like with Matthew, that was really cool. This guy's scurrying around the island, having fun. He climbs up the rock, he falls, which they really got a lot of leverage out of that little clip for the promos, side note. But like for me, that kind of medical stuff is exciting, but I hate nothing more than a medevac. I want to see people win and lose based on their own actions or the actions of others. So it's really devastating and really sad. And it just, I never want to see that. Does it raise the stakes for me? Is it good drama? Yes. Do I like it? No.
I echo that. I think I never want to see medical on Survivor because that means that everybody is safe. Although it was interesting to see the different ways that people got injured because I was like, Matthew, baby, what is you doing? Like, get down from there. Why are you? What is up there? What is up there that you need so bad? You think there's a clam
Bouldering.
up there? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you can boulder at home. Okay, when you have your chalk, you get your little shoes. Okay, and you're climbing around there. That's fine. There's no need to do that on Survivor. I'm just really hoping that this injury doesn't come back to haunt him with the whole dislocated shoulder thing.
Yeah, listen, wouldn't be a Survivor premiere of an epic season without someone dislocating their shoulder, right? I've worked in Survivor 20, Survivor 42. We had someone dislocating their shoulder. You think that's what it was? Because they just watched 42 before going out. I think Matthew's like, I really want to go the Daniel Strunk route. Let me dislocate my shoulder to start.
I think he's a mastermind. He's doing the Tyson thing. Like, I think it was an intentional injury where he just wants to take the attention away from him, not be a big threat, and make his way through that way.
Okay, that's interesting. He's got the sling. He gets on the sit-out bench. He can search for advantages.
Talk to
Chat
Claire.
with Claire. Exactly. Yes, this was done on purpose. This is mastermind strategy.
Mastermind. Yeah, I mean, I love that. Now, I guess the question is, listen, if we're so tired of advantages, should they put them in incredibly dangerous places so that it's, you know, most less likely to find them, but those that do have put their bodies on the line to climb up to the highest peak and grab that idol?
Well, we're all about danger, so, you know, oh boy.
There was this old stand-up bit that I think it was like Daniel Tosh 20 years ago, and he was saying how he wants all of his athletes to be on steroids. He wants them to see them pushing themselves to the edge. A small part of me, and I don't want to see anyone get medevaced ever, is I want to see people struggling on the island. I would love to see them have to go through something dangerous. You know, if Angelina has her ladder or whatever, like just searching for an idol in the most dangerous ways. Yeah, sure, give it to me for my own entertainment, not for their safety. By any means.
Yeah, you want the extra vote? It's in this snake pit. Good luck.
Yeah, this idol is hidden in a beehive. Good luck.
What if that was the bird cage? Like, there's an actual just bird in there that you have to get around, and the bird will attack you.
What about an alligator?
Oh, yeah. A little bit bigger of a cage, but yeah, we could do it.
Yeah, giant cage. There's a door you go in. There's an alligator guarding the idol.
Maybe some piranhas.
Now, that would be interesting, though, because I think that should happen on the summit. Because one of the things that I was so interested about with Island of the Idols ever since I found out about it was like, if you go back to camp and you tell people, it is so ridiculous of a concept that nobody would believe you. They would think that you like bumped your head a la Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz and went on this fantastical journey in your mind where Rob and Sandra were there with giant statues of their heads and they taught you how to lie and they gave you an assignment to get an idol. Like, you can't go back and sell that to people. And so I kind of love this idea of, I went to the summit. You're not going to believe it. There was a giant alligator pit that we had to swing over. They're like, yeah, right, Blankenship. You probably lost your vote. Let's get rid of it. I'm like, no, it was really there. I trust me, truly. It happened.
Like, if you have a fever dream about Survivor, that's the type of content that would be in it. So yeah, just go with that. I mean, maybe what was Jeff's alter ego? Survivor guy or whatever. Yeah. So that's like the type of thing that he would have on like one of his ayahuasca trips.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Brandon looked like he was tripping quite literally by the end of that. I almost called him Beast Mode Seahawk because by the end he was just like cramping up on the ground. I mean, listen, it was not a good episode for Brandon, and it does, you know, feel a little bad for him here because he is the guy that's supposed to push things around, and now like people are throwing shade at him, being like, "Oh well, this was our big strong guy, and even he can't do the one thing that he's meant to do." And so it's wild to see him get targeted first for a number of reasons. A, because of the public idol that he had, and B, this idea that like, hey, we're gonna have big challenges where we push heavy things around in the sun. You know who should go first? The guy that's most adept for pushing around big heavy things in the sun.
I mean, they were gassed from the sweat challenge, and like Matt got to rest. So Brandon was the guy who did both and is probably carrying more weight because he is this professional athlete. So like, no wonder he was dehydrated and passed out. I 100% like believe that. You just put him through having to haul ass with all of these coconuts. Like, no wonder.
Don't do sweat. Don't do sweat.
Never
Just don't do it. It's so stupid. You know you've limited rations on the island. That's kind of the point. Like, yeah, you got water and rice maybe, but like just don't do it. Don't do it, Brent. Why would you fall in? You're not only isolating yourself from the rest of your tribe, you're also wasting all the energy that you built up by having actual food before you enter the game. And then, like,
Now, this is interesting, though, because there could have been a way they could have broken this, right? If you're treating this like Taskmaster, could they have consumed the coconuts and made the load that much lighter and also hydrate themselves as they're going along this 4-hour journey?
They would have to open them without the machete, correct? Because they didn't have
Oh, right, they
it.
don't have the machete. Well,
So
there
I
are.
think
Matthew could tell you there are some sharp rocks nearby that they
Yeah.
could use.
chuck them. I was actually wondering how far they had to drag the bag because it seemed like they would stop short of the actual thing. So could you just like reach over really far and grab the coconut and put it in the bag and like not drag it that far?
yeah, the
Type
finish
thing?
line was kind of ambiguous.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
got there, they're like, we did it. We're, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like when they did
Okay.
those Jeff Probst, at home challenges, right? That the contestants had to host of like, yeah, we'll assume that this is fine. We have no one from production firmly giving us like a thumbs up or thumbs down. Which I will say, I was thinking before, was Bruce the only person to say Survivor's ready, go? But I have to imagine someone during those seasons where Jeff didn't do reward challenges, like someone had to say it, right? You can't not take that opportunity.
Yeah, during the bocce ball. Did we get
Yeah, the
that?
bocce
Yeah, I don't
ball, and
know.
when they did the little ladder rung thing in Survivor One World.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Well, let's start talking about Bruce in particular and his entire situation. I mean, I guess first, let's get into everything that happened with him. Of course, like, absolutely horrific in many different ways. Bruce has confirmed to myself and multiple other outlets he received a concussion right there on the island in the opening minutes. So, like, I really give kudos to his body for having the like adrenaline slash, I don't know, general mobility to get up and actually do his leg of the challenge and keep going despite the obvious contusion and concussion that he had. But that obviously answers the question of something that a lot of people had understandably been speaking out against, right? This idea of like, Jeff came in on day 3, and after Danny said that thing that Kevin said before, Jeff's like, just an update on Bruce. He's okay. He's getting looked after. And people said, well, if he's okay, he should come back into the game. 24-hour rule, medical immunity, et cetera, et cetera. He had a freaking concussion. And if any of you have been tuned into the NFL, particularly this past fall, you know that concussion protocol is quite lengthy for a number of reasons. So yeah, Bruce talked with me and several people about how it took him like a few days to even get comfortable. It's sort of odd the way that he explained it. And I tried to watch it back several times to figure out what happened. He seemed to describe it as, for lack of a better term, a wardrobe malfunction where he dove into the mud, but because his shirt was so like closely hewn to his arm, he couldn't reach his arm really above his head. And so he couldn't use his arm to break his fall. And so it seems like from what he was describing, pretty much his head hit the mud and like bounced up. And that's what caused the concussion. It wasn't like he hit his head on any part of the challenge. It seemed more so like contact with the ground, just pure like head to mud contact more than anything. I'm glad Bruce is totally fine now, but yeah, it's one of these things that sort of like the Jackson situation. I think the more we found out about it, the more you could sort of begin to realize like the symptoms he was clearly exhibiting during the day and at night, and B, why it was very unlikely that he would be able to return to the game even if he was given the chance.
Yeah, I mean, you need time to recover from a concussion. And like, just because I think when Jeff said, yeah, he's doing fine, I think that means that like he's gonna be
Yeah, he's
full
not
okay.
dead.
Yeah, like he's exactly like he's not in grave condition, like RIP Bruce. He's like getting better. He's gonna be okay, but not that like he can immediately go back into the game. I mean, I think to be pulled, there has to be something outside of just, yeah, you can shake it off. I mean, we see with Matthew in this very episode, somebody who is clearly injured, but is okay enough to continue in the game. So I think with the pulling Bruce and then actually doing a full analysis of his situation, clearly he could not return to the game.
Yeah, I don't hate the medical return after 24 hours or something like that, but in this case it was obviously completely inappropriate. You don't screw around with brain injuries. Also, I'm sure production was concerned about any kind of liability or anything like that with just let's forget liability, like taking care of this person. And it is sad because we saw, when everybody was excited, in the sort of opening mashup, he was so fired up to be on the island. His stood out. Even when he was recovering in the challenge, he like blew a kiss to everyone after he sat up. So I'm happy we're gonna see him again. He seems like a fun guy.
Same.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So Jeff officially deigned it on his podcast. He made that verbal contract, right? That, okay, let me make an announcement. Cue the music, everyone. We're bringing Bruce back. Now, the question is, would you want to see him back a la David Alexander on like a full returnee season? Or would you prefer, hey, Bruce on Survivor 45 or 46 as just like this guy who had an extra 12 hours on the island than the other 17 contestants?
45 and 46. I don't necessarily think there's enough of a story to bring him back for an all-star season or something like that, unless he's mixed in with other people who have similar stories or it fits that theme. Yes, playing the game before is a huge advantage, but playing for 12 hours, like I'll take my chances.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he didn't really play Survivor. I mean, he said as much. He didn't have strategic conversations. He just got to know people a little bit and collected bamboo and then left, right? Like, he didn't play Survivor. Even if you're a first boot and you have the experience of going to tribal council, you have the experience of being in an immunity challenge, right? Like, that is something. Bruce had nothing.
Well, let's bring in some of our predictions about Bruce from the preseason, because clearly we had something. Now, listen, I would like buy 15 lottery tickets tomorrow if either one of us had somehow predicted Bruce would get a concussion within the first 5 minutes of the game and have to be medevaced on night 1. So I would imagine that we probably had Bruce going a bit further, at least, than he did originally. Liana, what did you think about Bruce in the preseason? How did that translate to your predictions?
Yeah, I did have Bruce making the jury, so no medivac for my preseason predictions. I said that his hard work and get her done attitude makes him a valuable
Larry,
asset.
the cable guy.
Thank you. It's a very timely reference. His attitude makes him a valuable asset at camp. Instead of gathering firewood, he's actually gathering firewood. I said he would get into a fight with Carolyn, clashing with her free spirit and the fact that she cries too much. Also, he would attempt to mentor Carson. Carson does not appreciate it. And despite being valuable in group challenges, he's seen as a threat come merge and is the merge tribe consensus boot. His ally was Helen, enemy was Carolyn with 10 confessionals.
Oh, you went with the confessional count. I forgot about that. And which season did you base it off of this time?
Yeah, I learned from my winners at war situation. Yeah.
All right. So I had Bruce being pre-jury, actually, though obviously not going out in the way that he did. I said on night 1, he'll talk about his time in the foster care system, which will drive Carolyn to tears and automatically make her his closest ally. So we had exact opposite trajectories. I said, true to his attitude of, quote, looking, not searching for advantages, he'll walk right past an idol, as the camera will indicate. I said that Bruce will be designated the workhorse and challenge strength for Tika, which I guess he was in that brief portion of time. But his perceived arrogance will grate on nearly everyone on the tribe except for Carolyn. As a result, the oldest member of the tribe gets taken out pre-merge for being a personal nuisance to his tribe. Call it the reverse Gabler or Relbag. God, I thought I was clever with that one. Okay.
So smart.
Wow. It's like I was looking in a mirror the whole time. I said his closest ally would be Carolyn. His enemy would be Carson. And I did listen. I'm going to keep going with these random phrases because I adore this website. The randomly generated phrase I had for Bruce was the elephant didn't want to talk about the person in the room.
Oh, I like that one.
It's a real rail bag, right?
A real rail bag. Oh my gosh. Put that in a cage. Yeah. Wow.
All right, Kevin, the choice is yours now. Unlike the summit, we're actually giving you a choice.
Yeah.
Who do you think was more accurate on Brucey here?
So I really wanted to give it to you, but you said rail bag twice.
If I say it a third time, does that help?
If you say it a third time, it helps, yeah.
Then a little gnome will appear and grant all my wishes.
So unfortunately, I still need to give it to Mike. because
Yeah.
you have Bruce in the pre-merge and not the post, and it did seem like based on exit press that he did get along with Carolyn
Yeah.
versus being enemies. I mean, we really missed out on getting to know him, but based on absolutely nothing and against my best instincts due to you saying Relbag, you do get this.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
All right.
Take it.
Well, let's move on here to, I would say, the more conventional boot by default, but this is someone who went home in a 1-0 vote. 2 votes were nullified, 3 were not cast. So before we even get into Maddie's prediction, Liana, just give me your assessment of this Ratu Tribal Council. Was this enough mess for you? Was this too much mess for you?
Well, again, I think when you watch it for the first time, it's just like, oh my God, wow, two shot in the darks and an idol and a bank of vote. And it's like so exciting. You're seeing this thing happen. And then you actually go back of what was some of substance in this? What did I learn? Do I actually know these people any better? No, of course not. I don't. And then you spend so much time trying to, galaxy brain this. Oh my gosh, did Matthew actually do this so that he wouldn't show his hand for who he was voting for? And
No, his hand was in the sling. He didn't need to show it.
well, I mean, he's showing the one, but like the other hand,
Yeah, that's his plan, right? Like one
yeah.
hand, you can see what I'm doing, but this other hand's tucked away in that
Yes.
sling.
He's a close-up magician also. It's his whole thing.
Well, Brandon is though, so that's why they would bond.
Right? So I think that was like you just end up with more questions because of the challenge, and I don't know if that's necessary, or because of the tribal, and I don't know if that's necessarily what you want out of your tribal council experience.
Yeah, Kevin, you are a master of chaos, as we saw in Big Brother Canada 10, but was this your critical mass?
No, I mean the issue for me here is that Kane and Maddie voted correctly, which is why I feel bad. Kane, meanwhile, people are saying Kane didn't have a good premiere. I think Kane had Kane was in every conversation. Maddie left saying they were friends. There's a lot of confusing stuff. Jeff also read Matthew's shot in the dark first, but he seemed to play it second. Like, I have a lot of questions coming out of this. And yeah, first time watching, amazing, incredible. Second time, very, very confusing. And it's still like, I like chaos that makes sense, that you can make sense of. I don't actually have any sense to make out of this. And actually, without talking too much about exit press, it's only complicated things for me. They say they were all coming for Jamie and she was the consensus vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, to give the timeline that Maddie, which was sort of putting forward, and again, I guess we'll find out through other exit interviews, this is like what I did on 42. When I talked to every member of Vati, I had an agenda to be like, let's talk about this Jenny vote to all get on the same page as to like why you were feeling this way. I think I have a new mission for this season to do exactly with this vote. So it's, according to Maddie, after the challenge, when they got back, first off, she was targeting Matthew from the beginning because she saw him as kind of like a free-natured wild card. She said, there's only one of us that can be in that tribe, baby. Let me get rid of you. Then the whole birdcage thing happened, and she said, okay, now I have to go after Brandon because he willingly is showing that he doesn't want to work with me. Then apparently after the challenge, she said that the guys were blaming Jamie for the loss because she was the caller on the puzzle. And so they were trying to rally the votes against her, which goes against what we saw of them trying to gather the votes against Lauren because of what Matthew heard on the bench, but that's neither here nor there. Maddie basically said she thought, no, we're not getting rid of a girl tonight, then decided to try to rally the votes against Brandon. So she thought she had Jamie, Lauren, even though she knew about Lauren's advantage and said like, okay, you don't need to vote. It's okay. Then she had Kane, but Kane apparently went off to do like a confessional, and she kind of read between the lines and thought that, okay, we're probably leaving to go to tribal soon. So in case I need another number, let me go to Matthew. But in doing that, she already kind of knew that Matthew would tell Brandon and therefore play the idol. And she admitted openly to me, like, yeah, I probably should have split it. I was just so caught up in everything. She also said that because of the length of that challenge, which went over 3 hours, they only had like maybe an hour back at camp before tribal council. So she was just trying to put a plan together, but not a lot of safeguarding was put in place As a result, the worst case scenario happens. All her allies essentially bail on the plan, sans one. Brandon, who is understandably spooked beyond belief, plays his idol, and his vote is the one to send her home.
So, despite everything that happened, I still do think that Maddie made a mistake here. And it's not a typical first boot mistake. And that mistake is just not having a strong relationship with everyone in the tribe. She saw that Brandon didn't want to work with her, and she should have tried to work on that relationship, knowing how small this tribe was and how many stupid twists are going on. And unfortunately, that's not usually something that's going to get you out first. But because she didn't have that relationship and he had full autonomy, she just had to be five other people. She just had to be number 4 out of 5. And I guess she was number 5 out of 5 and he took her out, which sucks.
I mean, and because I think she also mentioned something about well, she thought that maybe he would have voted for Jamie there in that situation, that she thought that Jamie was that 5th person, but it turns out that he had actually voted for her. But I mean, that's the thing is that it was just the whole thing was just so chaotic. And now hearing that there was only an hour, that probably adds to the level of chaos because no plans really have a chance to set. They're just constantly churning over and existing.
Especially with a first vote, right? Where I'm assuming day 1 was spent exchanging pleasantries. Maybe some stuff was going on with day 2, though it seemed like for the most part they were searching through the forest for the birdcage. Day 3, they're like, okay, now we actually have to put pen to parchment, except half of us didn't. Okay, well, let's figure out what to do. Oh, wait, we only have less than the length of this episode to decide what to do. Fantastic. Okay, let me figure something out. So it's tough. I think Maddie certainly could have done things to help safeguard this, like you said, Kevin, down to just maybe not ending things too badly with Brandon the way that they did, right? Where they find the key together and Brandon's like, I'm going to share it. And Maddie's like, should you though? And he says, yes. Hey, everybody, I found the key. And Maddie's like, oh no. Oh boy. Well, but the thing about Maddie and the reason why she's cast in the first place, right, is these are the people we want on reality TV. We want people that are not going to bunt. They're going to swing their bat every single time, whether it be a ball or a strike. And in this case, I think it was a hard whiff. But if she was somehow able to pull this off, if she was able to get a guy voted out on day 3 with an idol in his pocket without half the tribe voting, that would be incredibly masterful. But it's the other side of that very, very different coin.
Yeah. And it just blows up the dynamics of this tribe.
Yeah.
Because she tried to do that also. So I'm thankful for her for doing that, because who knows who's working together at this point. We saw Matthew and Brandon, but Matthew didn't even vote. Jamie, who knows what's going on. Lauren seems to be just sitting pretty now. She wasn't part of the attention at all. Maybe all this lying is now off her back because who knows what happened.
And Kane now, who went from seemingly in a good spot, talking with everybody, was now on the wrong side of the boat as a result of the idol.
Only person on the wrong side of the boat.
Because Maddie's gone. So I'm so nervous for him.
The Thinking Man meme can't be on the wrong side of the vote if you don't vote.
Oh my God. Next level strategy.
Matthew's kind of in a decent position now. He's
right?
He was freaking out, and he fell and hurt his shoulder and had people being like, I don't know if I want to work with this guy, but he's got options.
Yeah, I think it actually works out really well that I didn't ask Manny about this, but I do feel like one of the reasons maybe he was kept around is because he is so good in the natural environment. We barely saw any of these tribes build shelter, but I would imagine out of all 18 cast members, he was probably the one to most be like, oh yeah, we could do this, we could do that. He talked about growing up in nature all the time. So I think that helped balance out the fact that oh yeah, he's essentially a one-armed man at this point. And so we need to sort of work around that. I was surprised, and yeah, well, I guess we'll find out later if his shot in the dark was just to I don't know, say, well, with Jamie doing hers, that's one other shot that could be thrown in my direction. Maybe he thought, okay, if Brandon is, possibly playing the idol, if they do split the votes, which they should have, some votes could have bounced onto me. So let me play mine just in case. Who the hell knows? But man, Rob and I talked about the possibility of Messy Maddie happening. And it happened just over the course of the one tribal council she attended. She put all that mess within one very succinct package.
Very concentrated. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll talk about how I thought Maddie would do in the preseason. I also had Maddie going pre-jury. I said that from the first time her toes hit the sand, she'll try to corral Lauren and Jamie into an all-women's alliance. I said that she'll start hunting for idols on day 1 and actually use her tree kissing excuse, which for those of you that might not remember, in my interview with her, she said that she always wanted to get caught looking for idols and claim that she was just making out with a tree, which would then get on the nerves of Brandon. Speaking to her impulsive decision making, she'll then go on to make an alliance with Matthew because of the similarity in their names. And eventually she'll go out in the Swathi spot when she gets called out for having an alliance with nearly everyone on the tribe. Her closest ally was Jamie. Her enemy was Brandon. And the randomly generated phrase for Maddie was, "It took me too long to realize that the ceiling hadn't been painted to look like the sky."
That sounds deep, but I don't know what it means. But it sounds really deep.
Sounds like the Survivor 44 premiere, right?
It really does. It really does. Okay, this is so interesting because I had something eerily similar, although with a
Ooh.
few differences to what you had said, Mike. So I also said that Maddie would form an all-women's alliance with Lauren and Jamie Lynn, but I said that that would quickly backfire when Jamie Lynn turns on Lauren and Maddie. Maddie and Lauren form a tight bond, but spend way too much time idol hunting, which gets them both in hot water. So when Ratu loses their first challenge, it's an easy decision for Brandon, Matthew G, Kane, and Jamie to split the votes on Maddie and Lauren. I said that her ally was Lauren, her enemy was Brandon, and she had 8 confessionals.
Wow. Oh, and how many? We didn't count the confessional. I think Bruce had 2 and Maddie had 6, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, it's not important right now.
And she's out. She's out at that split vote in your prediction, Liana, right?
Yeah, she's the one who goes home. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this is an easy Liana W over here. Because it is their first tribal, and a lot of this is a little bit unpredictable. You both nailed it with the all women alliance. Unfortunately, we didn't get the making out with a tree content.
That's why.
But there is Jamie turning, because I do think that Jamie not voting with them is a turn. Like, that's a betrayal. Announcing, hey, if everyone's doing what they said they did, I'm going to take this 1-in-6 shot for my own safety. While
you don't
all
need me. I
that.
just be a hanger-on. I'm a little parasite. You don't need me for this vote. I'm good.
Your vote is your currency, and for her to do that is a betrayal. So this one's going out to Boraas.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about. I love this idea of vote as currency, and Jamie was essentially like, "Yeah, I don't need to pay for the bill. Like, you can all split it amongst yourselves."
Yeah, you'll cover me, right? You guys got this.
The only way you can show that you're actually working with someone is to vote with them. That is where everyone learns the reality of things. And for her to just be like, "Nope, I don't like it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that paranoia though. I mean, she's like, how do you move forward from that? From essentially being like, I don't trust any of you. I'm super paranoid. I'm playing my shot in the dark. I'm hoping that she can then recover, but I don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe in the chaos she'll be okay, but still.
It's tough though, because like, I don't know how to balance that and the edit in particular with this apparent quote unquote reality that like she very much was the target, right? And that like it was not completely founded for her to be as upfront by saying like, "Oh, okay, shot in the dark. I'm just going to say it right now." But I do think that the fact that we didn't see her getting targeted and her being portrayed with, as you said, irrational, emotional, etc., probably makes me feel like she's not a winner. But, you know, we look last season at someone who openly declared they were going to play the shot in the dark and were portrayed as emotional and impulsive, and they ended up winning. So anything goes in Survivor nowadays.
Right, you never know.
And as Mike, as you go full Batman doing your detective work on this tribal, I think the key thing for me is, did Jamie announcing that she was going to play her shot in the dark change anyone's reactions?
Yeah.
Because if it didn't, then maybe it wasn't such a good play for her. But if it did, then sure. Cool.
Yeah, the first though, the obvious one I would go to would be Brandon, right? Like that to me was the red flag from what I saw of like he sees that and he says, "Oh yeah, I got to play my idol now." And I think Matthew playing his is also icing on the cake, because it's like, okay, well, if he's safe, then if he didn't vote with me, then I'm screwed, even though Matthew may or may not have voted with him. while we're talking about Ratu, let's talk about this birdcage in general, because we got to see it show up here in many ways, shapes, and forms. And surprisingly, we already found out what was inside it via Ratu's accidental group idol find. So, Liana, what did you think about the birdcage being brought in here? What potential do you see for it from the other two tribes?
I'm hoping that we get different ways of going about the birdcage idol. I would love to see someone get it in the middle of the night, sneakily take it. No one knows. I would love to see something like that. I'm hoping that we don't get essentially 3 group idols or 3 tribe idols where people like know who's got it and know that it's been taken. What I think is really interesting that I haven't seen addressed yet is the fact that it also comes with a dummy idol.
Yeah.
I thought that's so interesting. At first,
Mhm.
when they were like, oh, yeah, there's some medallion thing in here, I was like, oh my gosh, is this like one of those idols that you need to combine? Like, we're in Korong and you need to have like the multiple pieces for it to be an idol. So that's why I thought it was at first, but it seems to be just a fake idol, right? And I think a lot of that power, well, all of that power comes from the fact that no one knows that it's a fake idol. So if these are all tribe idols, then essentially 1/2 of what they put in there is just completely useless. You might as well just throw it away because you all of a sudden have like 3 fake idols that everybody knows about.
Just find a time. Just find a time to go on your own. Just
Yeah.
don't go for it immediately. Don't announce it to the tribe. Keep it to yourself. Maybe use the information to bond with someone, and then have time to think. Because this thing says here is a fake idol. Do whatever you want with it, which is basically explicitly saying fool someone with this, or put it back in the bird cage, or change around the notes, or something like that. Like, take your time, Brandon. You and Maddie could have had a really good time together, but instead she's gone. You used your idol successfully when you probably could have navigated this without doing it. Like, ugh!
Now the question is, are they going to remain tight-lipped about everything that happened, or do you think it was just such a shit show that at the mat they're going to be like, Jeff, I mean, when I had to use my idol, which I got out of the bird cage on day 2, and everyone's like, whoa, okay, wait, you're going to have to roll that back several sentences and describe to me everything that happened over there, which, like, we're still doing months ahead of the time. But, like, considering if Matthew and Claire are setting up a little something, and he talks about what happened, it'll be very interesting to see if this information gets communicated. And that makes me also feel a little bit bad for the group idol perspective, because, like, I hope that, I kind of hope and don't hope that the fake end up fizzling out, just because I do kind of love the runner in this new era of just like advantages that are clearly introduced to like inject more chaos and fun into the game just end up not being used whatsoever, like getting you knowledge as power. But also, like, I do want some duping to happen, right? Like, we love our effing sticks. We love our smug Jay getting his torch stumped by David Wright. Like, that's what fake idols have become synonymous with Survivor. And so I hope that it works on at least one person. The question that I have is this the camp idol? Like, is this what's going to happen? Are we no longer searching through trees? Or if we are, it's just for the key to this bird cage?
I think that's it, right? Like, I don't think there's anything else, if that's what you're saying. Like, are you saying that you think that there would be another idol in the jungle? I don't think so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they'd do like, okay, here's your public idol, or if you want it to be, and then here's the other one, the actual hidden idol. The other question is, so Brandon used his. Theoretically, because we haven't had an idol used before in the pre-merge in the new era.
Do you think it goes back in the cage?
That's what I'm wondering.
Does he keep the fake idol? He keeps that, right?
So I imagine they'd say, okay, you can have that orange medallion, but like at the same time, could he just like open up the cage the next day? Could that be his own Hoover advantage of just like, yeah, I use this idol, it just pops right back up in the cage as long as I'm on Rat 2, I know where it is.
They changed the locks. It's like moving into a new house. You got to find a new key.
I do like that. They have a new key to search for now.
Ooh, or it could be like an escape room where it's like a number puzzle or something, and then
and Brandon would be out. Count the number of circles. Nope, I'm not doing it anymore. Where's the coconuts I have to drag to get the key?
Maybe we could see that. Well, we could see some idols show up in the activity that we're going to play today on the B&B. So I have written a choose your own adventure, because I didn't get to use it last season because we didn't do a choose your own adventure. And I was like, well, it has to be choose your own adventure. So we are playing choose your own adventure today. The title of the story is Survivor 44, Danger, the fun kind. So I hope you guys are ready for quite the adventure. So a few things about this. First, there are maybe a medivac ending or two.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I
Whole
want
look.
that.
This is addressed with humor. Okay. Obviously, as we discussed, we never want to see medical out on Survivor. So try not to make light of the whole situation. But I am making light and fun of the situation, so don't at me. Also, I will say for the two of you, if you hit a medivac ending, I will allow you to go back if you would like.
Smash
and
the hourglass.
Smash the hourglass. You can go back and make a different decision. Okay. Because this could be a very short story.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. The last thing I need, and you two can discuss this, is your character name. So what character is going to play or live through Survivor 44, Danger, the fun kind?
Kevin, what's a first name you wish you had?
Oh, Andrew.
Andrew. Okay. His name is going to be Andrew Calendar.
Did you just look up and see a calendar?
No.
Andrew Calendar.
Them, perhaps?
I like that name, though. It's going to be Andrew Calendar, and he is going to be a motorcycle sports rider, like a stunt man.
Okay, the backstory is not really needed, but I like that. I like the energy.
He's a father of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, father of 3. Yep.
He's been married to his wife, Colleen Calendar, 14 years. They were briefly separated for 3 months in the sojourn, but they're back together and better than ever.
Yeah, because she doesn't really approve of the motorcycle stunts. It's dangerous. Like, they have children now. It's actually upsetting to Colleen, but now she's okay.
He says, "You don't understand. I am the bike. The bike is me, babe.
I'm nothing without the bike.
I'm half rubber, baby.
You exhaust me."
There's no Andrew Calendar without a motorcycle.
I am who I am. Okay, so
I jam who I jam.
I jam who I jam.
That's his phrase.
Great. Is that going to be his catchphrase?
Yeah, I jam who I jam.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me just figure out a way to write that. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Great. Good. Okay. So let's begin our tale. If you two are done with the backstory.
Yeah, okay. For now.
I think so.
All right. Welcome to Survivor. You are competing on Survivor 44, and the marooning is just about to start. You are riding in a boat surrounded by 6 other people. I couldn't figure out the numbers on this. I didn't want to remove anybody from the season unnecessarily, like Bruce. So they get an extra advantage. Tribe of 7 somehow.
This tribe, cool. You get Andrew Calendar, famous stunt rider.
You need to be in good shape to be a motorcycle stunt rider. Like, he's a good person to have on the tribe.
Exactly, the 19th contestant. Yes,
his legs are just like horses.
Huge.
Like, they're so powerful,
so strong.
Actually, what it is, it's just the thickest legs you imagine and the tiniest body.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, when we get the drawings to go along with our choose your own adventure story, we'll be sure to include that.
Like, instead of chicken legs, he has chicken arms.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, so you're riding in a boat surrounded by 6 other people, all wearing orange. These must be my tribe mates, you think to yourself. You reach the island, get out of the boat, and Jeff starts yammering away, asking you all questions. Guy with the orange pants and comically large thighs. Jeff points to you. What's your name? How are you feeling?
Oh, Kevin's got the buff.
There we go. I jam who I jam, and I feel like my spleen is just going to pop out of me and splatter everyone in the front row. You reply. Everyone laughs and laughs. Finally, Jeff gets to the marooning
You realize it's not a joke.
Exactly.
You were trying to warn them about your condition.
It's a motorcycle accident. Everyone laughs and laughs, and finally Jeff gets to the marooning challenge. You huddle in with your team and decide which part of the challenge you're going to do. Do you, A, work on the puzzle, or B, do the ring toss?
Now, I do fear with the chicken arms, the chances of our man Andrew Calendar being able to throw this ring.
But if we do it as a full body movement, Like
That's true. Can he actually
pushes up
does
with
he
his
need
legs?
does he need to use his arms to lift it? Could he use his legs like that one challenge that the internet seems to like a lot?
Okay, so what do you want to go with?
I
Puzzle or
listen, I
ring
don't think
toss?
Andrew Callender can do puzzles, so I think you've got to
He's
toss the
not a
ring.
puzzle guy.
He's not a puzzle guy.
No.
Okay.
My
All right.
braids and my bike.
Ring toss it is. Jeff wastes no time. Survivors ready? Go, he yells. Your team sprints off to the mud pit, which exists for some reason because Jeff thinks you need to be birthed into the game. Whatever. Your team is totally safe with no issues, and you collect all the puzzle pieces and fly through the puzzle.
Incredible.
You step up to the plate and begin tossing the ring in the air, but something is holding you back. You need to remove a piece of clothing. Do you take off A, your pants, or B, your shirt?
This is tough.
Yeah, it
'Cause-
takes a lot. There's a custom order pants. They always are.
Yeah.
Because of his enormously large lower body.
Your vascular thighs, yes.
They're very small at the waist, and then they go out
Yeah.
like a balloon and come
It really
back
is.
in.
It's like a cloche, right? That you lift off of a nice meal. It's that type of shape.
Mm.
It's not an hourglass. It doesn't curve back the other way.
But also, like, kind of want to show our value to the tribe, right? We want to show them our quads.
And I have to imagine that as a stunt writer, there's a fair chance that like all pants are tearaway pants if you put enough effort into
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I think he's gonna take off his pants.
Okay.
Let's go
All right.
pants.
All right, we're going pants. You reach down, undo your orange pants, and yank them off, but they're not budging. You pull harder and they slide down your legs, but unfortunately, your underwear gets stuck in the legs. You're now fully butt naked on national television. What a great first impression. The only good news is that your naked lower half distracts the other teams, allowing your teammate...
God, well, that's the good news, I guess.
allowing your teammates to assist with the challenge and get you into second. So despite your deep pantsing, your tribe finishes second. While you don't get the supplies, back at camp, you get to choose which option of savvy or sweat you want to do. What do you choose?
Oh, now we could be falling into a Brandon-like trap here if we pick sweat, though, because do we want to be able to show off our assets, which were on display in a very different way mere hours ago, or is this a trap?
I think I can do sweat, but I don't know. I don't know if it's the right thing.
Okay, you want to try sweat?
I'd say no, because I think what we can do is go with savvy and be like, I was publicly embarrassed in front of millions of people. I think I'm okay if I sit this one out, get the two brainy people on the tribe to do it. Then Andrew Callender does what he does best, chop down the trees that are the thickness of his meaty thighs and get to work on the shelter.
People underestimate my abilities to get other brainy people to do stuff for me, so savvy it is.
Savvy it is. We're smart enough for puzzles, you exclaim. You and Lauren get to work on the puzzle.
No! Andrew Callender, you idiot!
Oh.
Okay, but you think about all the shapes and circles and whatnot, and finally
I'm an expert at circles. Two of them make up a bike.
Tires.
All I saw were tires. All I think about was counted tires.
You finally come up with the answer, 69. You write it
nice.
down and open the envelope to reveal the answer. Yes, the correct answer is 69 shapes, 69 bike tires. Nice. Your excitement brings your fellow tribe mates to the beach to see what you've done. Great job, y'all, Matthew says. Now let's go collect some firewood to use with our new flint. Agreeing, you turn and walk away with Jamie Lynn to go to the beach or Kane to go to the jungle.
Ooh. I mean, listen, we are talking with a Canadian here. Do we want to represent and go with Kane?
Kane seems sensible to me.
Kane it is. So you go with Kane into the jungle. You head into the jungle where there is plenty of wood with Kane by your side. Interesting.
There
You
was
think
plenty
to
of wood
yourself.
beforehand as well in that challenge, by the way.
Hey. Interesting, you think to yourself. Kane walks like Bigfoot, which is a thing that everyone understands and is not confusing to say that someone walks like Bigfoot. Maybe he could be good in challenges, you ponder.
Interesting. Kane walks like Bigfoot, which is a thing that I understand, and everybody knows that reference.
I have a lot of brain trauma from the bike. That's why I outer monologue.
We're filling in the monologuing. I love this. Kane trudges through the forest ahead of you. What is that? He asks. You see a small bag hanging inside a locked bird cage. Do you A, try to smash it open with a rock, or B, go to look for the key?
Oh, I think he's going to take his garishly large leg and do a roundhouse kick onto the bird cage to try to smash it.
I found just the right rock to put between my toes and kick that cage down.
Who needs a rock when you got these gams?
Okay, perfect.
Been working on my big toe muscle.
Without thinking, you grab a grapefruit-sized rock with your big toe and hurl it at the bird cage. Production gasps. Kane makes whatever noise Bigfoot would make if he were shocked. The rock bounces off the cage and right back at your face.
No!
The lock is still intact, but your face isn't. Dr. Will is busy attending to injuries on one of the other tribes, so you can't get treatment until he's done. By the time Dr. Will treats your wound, it is gravely infected, and you are pulled from the game. Sadly, your survivor adventure ends here.
So like a cartoon, the rock just bounced right back and hit him in the face?
Yeah, I guess so. He wasn't wearing a helmet. I mean, he's used to wearing a helmet, on the motorcycle, so it just, it didn't work.
I let Colleen down.
All right, well, you know what? I'm taking a rock in my big toe and I'm smashing the hourglass. Let's undo that decision.
All right, let's smash the hourglass. So, would you like to look for the key? That was your other option.
I think we should look for the key, yeah.
Yes.
All right. You decide it would be stupid to try to brute force your way through the lock. Plus, it's probably against the rules anyway. You begin walking through the jungle and see a very odd-looking tree. It has an elaborate root structure around the bottom, as well as a few tree knots that could hold a key or two. Do you A, climb the tree to reach the tree knots, B, root your hand around the roots of the tree, or ignore the tree and keep on walking?
Ooh.
So you have 3 options here. I know, it's a lot.
3 is a big number for Andrew Calendar.
Not going to do nothing. We're not going to do nothing. We're going to eliminate that choice.
Okay.
I would imagine that I think Andrew Calendar likes to remain relatively terrestrial.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that he's not going to climb anything anytime soon. I think he's going to root around the roots.
I only fly when I'm flying off a ramp.
And I see no ramps or leaks. We ain't got no food.
Close to the ground.
Got no roots.
Does he like music too? It's his favorite song. Okay, so
big Alice Murden guy.
Exactly.
That's what I listen to when I ride.
That's what's playing in his earphones. Yes. You crouch down and begin to root around the base of the tree. Your hand touches something that doesn't feel like tree bark. Could this be a key? You grip the object, but unfortunately, you just squeezed a real-life snake that was slithering around the tree. As they're delivering the anti-venom, Jeff Probst says, "Sorry for you," as the medical team loads you into the stretcher. Sadly, your survivor adventure ends here.
My God, danger is at every turn.
No, Colleen.
I know. Don't worry, you'll be reunited.
Don't worry, my face didn't get smashed in by a rock. This is the more preferable outcome of the 2.
The moneymaker is still okay. All right, so do you want, if we were to go back, smash the hourglass, would you like to ignore or climb the tree? So you have to choose one of your options that you didn't think that Andrew would be a fan of.
Let's go ahead and climb. Legs only.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I think should he fall down the tree, his legs can certainly, I think, hug the tree with a certain amount of pressure that he won't suffer a large fall.
Very strong tibialis muscles.
Mm-hmm.
The rarely
that's the name of my daughter, Tippy Alice.
Tibialis Calendar.
Rolls off the tongue. I love that.
Chip off the old block.
Yeah. Kid after your own heart. All right. Kid after your own tibialis. You climb the tree, reach into one of the tree knots, and sure enough, a key. Quickly, you hop down, shove the key in your pants. Boy, I hope that if someone finds the key, they would share it with the group, Kane says, not so subtly. Damn, he must have seen me slip the key into my pocket with his Bigfoot vision. Do you
Wait, no. Okay, now I don't know a lot of things about Bigfoot, but I don't know if that's real.
Bigfoot vision. Heard of that one.
Yeah, thank you. It's
You
a
see
thing.
everything.
Yeah.
Your eyes are bigger than the regular human, so you've got,
Yeah, but big foot, more like big eye.
an ocular advantage.
It's the same thing. All right. So, do you keep it to yourself or do you share it with Kane?
I think Andrew Callender is a charitable man. I think it's like, listen, I know you've been taking a look down there. You have been since the first challenge. You probably noticed a key shape protruding from my tightened yet enlarged buttocks. Yes, it is a key. I'm going to share it with the group.
Well, Kane's gonna tell everyone.
Yeah, so I think you have to tell everybody in that case. I don't think you could keep it a secret from everyone.
All right, inner voice, we're gonna tell Kane.
Okay, you're going to tell Kane. Quickly, you toss the key to the ground. Kane, look over here. I think I found it. Kane lumbers over to you. Wow, a key, he says. That's good dialogue. You both go to the cage, unlock it, and grab the idol. Huzzah! This is our little
Wait,
secret.
which one says huzzah? I'm very curious.
I don't know. I'll leave that up to if you feel like Andrew would be the type of person to say huzzah. Otherwise, we'll make it Kane.
Huzzah!
Oh, perfect. Okay, I can hear it.
It's like when Keanu Reeves was in that one Shakespeare movie. It's just like really square peg in a round hole.
A rose by any other name.
This is our little secret, Kane says. But did anyone else see you? I guess you'll never know. For now. With an idol in your pocket, you rejoin...
What an odd... I guess you'll never know for now.
I guess
Never till later.
Yeah, because I'll never know until 2 hours later.
Never for the moment. Not currently, never.
Yeah, it's good writing. Thank you. With an idol in your pocket, you rejoin the tribe and head out to the immunity challenge. Due to a medical evacuation on another tribe, you're only running the challenge with 5 people. Do you A, offer to sit out, or B, participate in the challenge?
Ooh, I think Andrew Callender is feeling a little camera shy after his last challenge incident. So I think to avoid any other possible trauma for both him and all the families that are watching at home, as Jeff likes to say, I think he would want to sit out the challenge.
Pants on, sit out.
Okay, pants on, sitting out. I'll sit out. I don't think I'd be very good at this, you suggest.
Yeah, plus he can't haul a chest with his little skinny, slim
little
arms.
Tiny, yeah, it's like T-Rex arms that he's got going on.
Now I just imagine him pulling the key out of the tree. Yeah, Kane, look what I found.
I got this little thing.
Well, maybe your tiny T-Rex arms would have helped because your tribe sucks at this challenge, especially because you made Matthew G participate with his bum shoulder. Oh, and Brandon got dehydrated, so you lost. Wah, wah. Back at camp, the whole tribe is scrambling in preparation for tribal council. At least I have an idol, you think to yourself. Darkness settles on the set as you take a seat at tribal. In this game, fire represents your life, and when your fire's gone, so are you. Jeff reminds all of the contestants. Tribal is a blur. You black out. You find yourself standing at the
Dr. Whale.
Yeah, is this a concussion? You find yourself standing at the voting urn. What will you do? So, you can either play your shot in the dark or vote for one of the 6 other members of your tribe. Remember, you're in a 7-person tribe. So you can vote for Maddie, you can vote for Brandon, you can vote for Matthew, you can vote for Kane, you can vote for Jamie, or you can vote for Lauren.
Oh, man. Okay, Kevin, you're the strategic mastermind. What's our play here?
All right, Lauren probably picked up an advantage on her journey that might have been in this story or might not.
That's true. Liana, yeah, are we assuming that like everything else in the episode has remained constant?
I don't
Constant?
know. I don't know. There's 7 of you.
Kane's good with everybody. We like Kane. You know, Jamie says she's gonna play her shot in the dark. Don't want to send it that way. I think it's Brandon or Maddie.
Yeah. Oh, I would say, well, Matthew G is an option. Matthew G does have a bum shoulder.
You know what? He's so charming and is enjoying the island so much. I didn't even think of that, but we might be stronger without him.
Yeah. So I think he'll take his little T-Rex arms as he leans over the chessboard and writes down Matthew on a piece of paper.
Okay.
You know, Matthew, you seem like a good guy, but I want to make it till the end, and you got injured too soon.
Also, I think this sound effect should be included of him like accidentally knocking over all the chess pieces as he's trying to like rummage with his arms through the boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for him, you know, with his little T-Rex arms. So, okay, so you have voted for Matthew. You take pen to parchment and write down Matthew's name. You give the confessional. Thank you, Kevin. Before returning to your seat. This is a mess. Maybe I should play my idol, you think to yourself. Jeff is about to read the votes. What do you do? A, play your idol, or stay seated.
Is there an option C?
You have 2 options because those are the only 2 options that you would have had. So you either play it or you don't play it. The stay seated is you don't play it. Like you don't stay seated and play your idol, just to be clear.
Jeff, can you get this?
I can't get up.
I don't want my pants to fall down again and for you to see my penis.
I look over at Kane and he appears to be avoiding eye contact with me.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That makes me nervous. So I reach inside of my custom pants, pull out my idol, and call Jeff over.
Perfect.
And he's also outer monologuing this entire thing. So everyone has heard him say, like, Kane looks uneasy at me.
It's a little bit awkward.
Andrew talks about himself in third person also.
Okay. Yes. Andrew Calendar.
Andrew Calendar is going to play it for Andrew Calendar, Jeff.
All right. Great. So, hey, Jeff, I have something, you say as you walk up to Jeff. This is a hidden immunity idol. Any votes cast for Andrew Calendar, motorcycle stuntman, father of 3, married to his wife, Colleen Calendar, but separated for 3 months. Because she doesn't approve of the motorcycle stunts because they have kids, and then whatever else you said that I didn't write down. Won't count. Huzzah. Huzzah. Won't count. That was our idol, man, Kane exclaims. Your face turns red in shame, but what's done is done, and at least you're safe. Jeff begins to read the votes. Andrew Calendar does not count. Andrew Calendar does not count. Andrew Calendar does not count. You just saved yourself with this critical idol play. We're down to the last vote. Your vote. The first person voted out of Survivor 44, Matthew. Hooray! Huzzah! You survive one more day in the jungle of Fiji. Jeff snuffs Matthew's torch, kicks him in the crotch, and says his classic line, "Sorry for you."
Oh, what is Jeff on?
Look, so this is because Puyi was insistent that Jeff kick someone in the crotch at some point. When I was going over, I was like, I need help coming up with some ideas. And he was like, Jeff's going to kick someone in the balls. Jeff's got to kick someone
Why
in
was
the
that
balls.
first on his list of needs?
I had several questions. None of them were accurately addressed, but you know what? I put it in there. So, and he was very insistent also that Jeff has to say the classic line after. So Jeff, because originally I had it written that Jeff says, "Sorry for you," and then kicks you in the balls. But he wanted it to be, no. He was very insistent. You have to get kicked in the balls first, and then he says the classic line, "Sorry for you." Yeah, so,
wow.
The end.
Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom, indeed.
I ride to live another day.
All right.
Colleen, I'm not one step closer to the million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I guess the good news for Jeff is that if he kicked Andrew Calendar in the nards, You better bet Andrew Calendar's kicking him right back. And considering the sheer leg strength of that
Yeah.
man, I think
Oof.
Jeff would need to see Dr. Will. I think his testicles would be up in his eyeballs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's the fourth medical visit that we're gonna see in this episode. You guys actually did quite well in terms of avoiding all of the different medical. There was a ton of medical evacuations.
Seemed like it.
Yeah. So, let's see. If you had chosen the sweat, then you would have gotten medically evacuated because a pelican came and picked up the hourglass and dropped the hourglass all over your legs, actually, which is funny.
My legs are my business.
Exactly. So that's really important that you missed that.
That's my livelihood. Stay away.
That's so good. You protected that. Another issue, you would have been stung by a jellyfish. That would have been a problem. So you would have gotten medical evacuated for that. You found out that you had a coconut allergy. So you would have been medically evacuated for a coconut allergy. My personal favorite is that if you ignored the tree, you would have been attacked by Cocaine Bear.
What?
That's out there on Survivor.
I was in that film.
Right. Well, actually, you said someone should make a movie about this and then ultimately end up starring in it. So thank you as the stunt man.
Oh, wait. So this was a backdoor filming for Cocaine Bear?
Maybe. I didn't think it through. So that would have been good. You would have, if you had if you would have participated in the immunity challenge, you would have been stabbed by the immunity idol. The sword specifically, and you would have been medically evacuated. If you had played your shot in the dark, you would have slipped and fallen down the stairs and been medically evacuated.
That's my livelihood.
What, like him trying to throw the die into the little volcano? He just slips and falls down the stairs.
Okay, let's see. What did I write? You toss the die in the jar and turn to walk down the stairs back to your seat. As you take your first step down, you feel the earth slip out from underneath you as you tumble down the stairs. Your body splaying out in front of Jeff, your tribe, and the entire camera crew. You have 2 broken wrists, which I don't know if that's okay with your probably not to ride.
No, you can't. You gotta grip those
You need to
handlebars.
navigate. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And a ruptured spleen. Ironic given your comment to Jeff at the start of the game. So.
Wow.
Yeah, well done. You guys did great, and you stayed in the game. I think that's really important. So, congratulations.
Colleen, I love you. This is for you, baby.
This is for you. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you and the kids.
I'm doing it for you and Tibialis.
Tibialis, yeah.
Tibialis calendar.
Tibialis major.
Tibialis major calendar.
Yeah.
Our other kids are calf.
We were a little less creative with
Yeah,
that.
I was
Right?
actually
Achilles.
coming up with a name for my kids, and like any good podcaster, I just looked around me for a name, and I looked at my glorious legs and just named them after the muscles.
Yeah.
Well, this was a major delight, a Tibialis major delight, perhaps. Kevin, you know the drill. At the end of every B&B, what we'd like to do is shine a spotlight on our guests, give the opportunity to highlight a charity or a cause that is important to them. Of course, this week in Survivor taught us that there is a lot that exists outside of the game that we love to talk about in week in and week out. But what would you like to highlight this particular week, Kevin?
Yeah, I think I'll still highlight my friends at Rethink Breast Cancer. They have a lot of good resources for young people going through breast cancer or post-breast cancer or people who care for people with breast cancer. They're at rethinkbreastcancer.com. If I have the website right, cause near and dear to my heart. My sister is a recent survivor, so that gets my highlight.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, this was so great and excited to be your warm-up act, I suppose, to you. Because
Mike, this isn't announced yet.
Really?
We're letting secrets slip here.
Mike, shush. Oh my God.
Said at the
Don't you
beginning,
know
I was like-
Sasquatches get stitches? Gosh.
I don't know anything about Sasquatch. That's the problem.
Yeah, obviously.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll be
Oh my God,
covering
maybe-
Big Brother Canada 11 somewhere. Who knows? Maybe.
I mean, listen, the fact of the matter is you're a Big Brother Canada winner.
Hmm.
You are an excellent podcast voice to have. Who knows? Maybe in the future you'll appear talking about the new season. Regardless, you have been out and about promoting the season, talking about some of the contestants that were highlights for you. But I also know that you maybe have some other stuff, as I mentioned before, perhaps in the newsletter variety, that you are able to plug without me getting yanked off by the proverbial cane from Rob and company.
Yeah, I started this newsletter I actually got a Survivor newsletter for a while, and I felt like writing was an area, sort of in a newsletter style. Obviously, there's tons of journalism, of which is incredible, including yours. But
Oh, thank you.
like a newsletter style, I thought would be fun. It's largely for myself because I find that I think better when I'm forced to take my thoughts and put them into unchangeable words. But yeah, so I've been having fun with this. I've been covering Survivor Australia 44 and Big Brother Canada 11, which is coming up. You can find it at thisweekinbs.beehive, spelled BEEHIIV.com, or in my Twitter or Instagram bios as well, which is Kevin Ted Jacobs. But yeah, I'm just writing about these shows, having fun.
Oh, beehive, like what we thought was going to be hanging out of the bird cage, right? To make it extra dangerous.
It still might be. It still might be. We might find another tribe has alligators and bees.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that.
Well, Kevin, so awesome to have you on, as per usual. Liana, I know much like Andrew Calendar's job of choice, you are revved up right now. You're back up to speed with all of your reality TV coverage.
Oh my gosh, he might be a drag racer, but so am I. We're I don't know. Does he do this?
I don't think motorcycles drag race.
I don't know anything. It's like there's wheels and cars and motorcycles and anyway. So yeah, we're covering season 15 of Drag Race. We are at episode freaking 10, which is wild to think that we are already in the double digits for season 15. Having a really good time with Amon and Beth talking about all of that, and then Puya kicked in the balls. Zambakili and I are covering the Masked Singer, which is a mess, and it's really fun. So check it out on either reality TV or Wrap Ups or in the Drag Race feed or in the Masked Singer feed. Just same for Drag Race, either individual or in Wrap Ups.
How does the mess of the Masked Singer compare to the mess that was Rat 2 this past week?
I think the thing is that you like want to make sense out of what's happening on Survivor because it should be like logical decisions that people are using, information to make these decisions. Never try to make sense of the Masked Singer. It will only further damage your brain. So just don't even bother. It's just chaos for chaos' sake, and we like it like that.
More brain damage than possibly suffering a concussion. But check out the coverage because that will fill your brain up possibly with Puya and Mr. Kicked in the Balls. Of course, you can follow me when I'm doing at a Mike Bloom type. We plugged the exit press I did before. This is such a fun cast already. Getting to talk with Bruce and Maddie were both really great in their own way. Getting to hear Bruce's perspective, also getting to hear him throw shade at me for my preseason comments about him, which I absolutely adored. So feel free to check that out if you're a lover or a hater, but everyone's a lover of Bruce, and I'm so excited he gets a chance to come back. He gives his reaction. He did not know until the podcast dropped that he was being called back, so that was very fun for him to basically find out, through a bunch of people essentially filling his DMs with all this congratulations for a thing he didn't even know about. But I'm also full up on the scripted side of things. I've been covering Star Trek Picard with Jessica Leese. I've been covering The Mandalorian, which recently premiered this past week with DM Philly. And I've been covering The Last of Us. Now, Kevin, last time you came on here ready to talk about HBO Prestige Sunday Night TV. Have you kept in a similar vein? Have you been watching The Last of Us?
So I played the game, and I don't think they're the same thing. And I hate when people are like, "Oh, I played the game," but now every time the episode starts and I see what it's about, I'm like, oh, I don't have the emotional capacity to handle this right now. So yeah, I'm still watching it, and it's amazing and such an incredible piece of television production. However, it's not like it ends on a Sunday and I'm ready for the week. It takes my Sunday scaries and it turns them into just pure terror and apathy towards the world. That said, it's amazing.
No Sunday scaries, it's Sunday saddies instead. You're just left like as a husk of yourself being like, oh man. But then then it's like giving birth. You come back around the next Sunday and you're like, I'm ready to go again. I'm ready to have my heartbeat broken again. So doing that with Grace later, we're talking about the penultimate episode on the night we are recording this on March 5th before the finale airs next week. But we're just getting started when it comes to Survivor 44. Of course, if you have any ideas for games, my goodness, we are open to any and all suggestions you might have. You can write to us. Our email address is RHAPBNB, the letter B, the letter N, the letter B, at gmail.com. You can also send it on social media using hashtag RHAPBNB. Really, like any suggestion works. We will try to make it into something that could work on a podcast. And any suggestion, any listening in general is greatly appreciated to all the zaniness that we have going on for an hour and a half every week. Joining us next week on this zaniness is a very fun guest. Maggie Morgan will be returning to the B&B to talk through episode 2 of Survivor 44. Who the hell knows where we're going to go from here? I would just be interested in an entire 44-minute episode just focusing on like Ratu's night after tribal council of, okay, can we talk through everything that happened there? There's a lot going on. It seems like there may be some kindlings of some sort of Frankenship happening. Carolyn's going to continue to Carolyn, and we are absolutely here for it. So next week, Liana and I will be joined by Maggie Morgan to break down episode 2, and we hope you'll all be there alongside us as we continue our perilous climb throughout season 44. We talked about this before the season started, but I think it's been confirmed in the premiere. This is going to be a hell of a season to talk about no matter what. It's going to be eventful. And I'm so happy to be here with Liana and our guest of choice throughout the season to be along for the ride of whatever the hell it's going to produce. I know that on the B&B, we're bound to have a good time. It's about time we ride off into the sunset. My ride is here, and it's a big, thick-thighed Andrew Calendar rider. And I'm sitting sidecar, baby. So that's going to do it this week for the B&B. Thank you all so much for listening. Liana, Kevin, thank you both so much. Until next week, we'll check you out at your next